always keep us safe, make the officials of the city give us your wisdom, give us your Holy Spirit so that we will be able to do what is best for the city. This is us in Jesus' name. Amen.
May feedback. Hindi ko matanggal ba? Sinong ga-feedback? Okay.
Present. Honorable Francis Bernardo Regina, Honorable Marie Angelina Ayala,
Present.
With the President, Honorable Grace. Thank you, Mr. Chair. To all the members of this August body, good afternoon.
You off
To
the
our
microphone.
presiding
Yan,
officer
naka-on.
and to all those who are listening in this session of the Assembly Commission. Good afternoon. This afternoon, I will be rendering the report of the Committee on Finance, which the committee actually conducted several meetings before it finally came up with the final recommendation yesterday.
Tanggalan ng sound.
For the record,
I-ano
Mr.
mo po,
Chair,
yung
we
volume
have
niya.
conducted 5 meetings,
Yung volume.
but due
Ito.
to the
Kahit na, i-ano lang po.
spike in the cases of
Yaan
COVID-19,
yun, off yun na
especially
doon.
in the city of Koronadal,
Para lang
we
hindi siya
have to
mag-ano po.
readjust and conduct another meeting.
Okay na po.
And finally, yesterday, with
Sa
the
kanila
presence
ba?
of
Mali kayo.
all members of the Sangguniang Commission, we were able actually to come up with the following report. Findings and observation, Mr. Chair. I hope that the members of this ombudsman body were able to
Hindi ka na lang
listen to
mag-live.
the report. There was always and anyway, probably I will be able to read this
Yellow.
for the record and for the guidance of the findings and observations. Number, what about this number 2? COVID-19 response of the city as the biggest
I-off ko na lang.
supplemental budget. However, the state appropriation is not enough in the light of the spike of cases that the city is experiencing right now. B, in consultation and with concurrence from the executive department, the committee decided to recreate or reallocate the funds intended for the COVID-19 response. Decided to disapprove and reduce some of the items of appropriation in the proposed supplemental budget, and the corresponding amount therefrom will be redirected to COVID-19 response of the city.
Next time.
Number 5,
Laptop na.
discuss,
Kasi mas madali.
consulted, consulted and agreed upon by the members of the committee and other members of the Sanggunian. The following are the adjustments in the supplemental budget as a result of disapproval and reduction of budgets. A, other general services of the different offices. It was reduced by a total amount of 636,626 pesos. Now this covers different offices which has an appropriation for general services, Mr. Chair. Letter B, Mayor's Office, Medical Assistance. It was reduced by 500,000 pesos. Mayor's Office, AX or Assistance in Crisis Situation. It was reduced by 174,000 pesos. Mayor's Office, Consultation Dialogue. It was reduced by 250,000 pesos. Mayor's Office, Purchase of Land. It was reduced by 1,800,000 pesos. Mayor's Office, Enhancement of Lamp Post. It was reduced by 500,000 pesos. Mayor's Office, Construction of Lagoon and Falls at the aviary. The amount was cut or disapproved in the amount of 500,000 pesos. Under the Peace and Order Program, the item honorarium will be reduced by 500,000 pesos. Under the Peace and Order Program also, the item other MOE is reduced by 50,000 pesos. Under the nutrition item honorarium it will be reduced by 30,000 pesos. Under the city cow or city is cow barangay affairs, community affairs office, the fuel as the item for fuel used by 400,000 pesos. Under the city general services office, the item for insurance expense is reduced by 500,000 pesos. And under the assessor's office, the program general revision, other general services, it will be reduced by 259,000 pesos. Under the city vet, other general services, additional JO, it will be reduced by 339,075 pesos for a total amount of 6,439,309 pesos. This represents the amount was reduced, was approved as a result of the decision of the committee and the members of the Sanggunian. Number 6, the above mentioned amount will be redirected or reallocated to the different items for support to COVID-19 operation of the city, except for the 100,000 pesos, which will be appropriated under the office of the city mayor or Distinguished Public Service Award, as it is a mandatory obligation in the light of the passing of Honorable Minda Costalero, who is a 3-termer member of the Sanggunian ng Barangay of General Paulino Santos. Number 7, for decided by the committee for the amount and COVID into of city. Number 8, In addition, we also noted several inclusions of realignment of funds from the Local Development Fund CY 2020 and CY 2021. The appropriations to be realigned are those which tended to the different barangays, part of the assistance to the component barangays, and that's included barangay empower program. Recommendation committee. The committee unanimously recommends to the Sangguniang Panlunsod for the approval of an appropriation or ordinance supplemental budget number 2 calendar year 2021 in the amount of 105,403 pesos, 105,403,702 pesos and 35 centavos, incorporating all the adjustments made by the committee as detailed above. A copy of the proposed appropriation ordinance is herein attached to this report. Further, the committee recommends considering the importance and necessity of this legislative measure to consider and deliberate on second reading the approval of the proposed appropriation ordinance supplemental budget number 2 calendar year 2021 in today's session. Finally, the committee recommends for the adoption of this committee report. I so move, Mr. Chair. This report is signed by Honorable Abris as Chairman, Honorable Pingoy, Vice Chairman, Honorable Hurtado, Member of the Committee, Honorable Dideles, Member of the Committee, Honorable Hinay, Member of the Committee, and signed also by SP members who attended the committee meetings. Honorable Aguirre, Andel D. Cadilino, Councilor James Dadrasca, Councilor Maylene de Guzman, Councilor Abing, Councilor Presda, and Councilor Clarice Suruma. The Honorable Prichi Luila Ugoy was not able to sign because her residence is quite far for my staff to reach at this, given the time constraint, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I so move, Mr. Chair, for the adoption of this committee report.
Second.
Mr. Chair, I reiterate my motion for the adoption of this report so that anybody, so that somebody could second also my motion.
Second. Second. Second.
Mute. Okay, Vice.
Vice, nakamute ka, Vice.
Vice, nakamute. Hello?
Okay na, Vice.
Yes. Hello?
Go ahead, Vice. Go ahead.
Hello? Okay, can you hear me? Okay, good. So there was a motion. Any second to the motion?
Second.
Any objection, clarification from the floor? The chair would like to be clarified. Councilor Abris, about the details. I did not hear it well about the details on the COVID budget.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Actually, it was not the amount that was detailed in the report, Mr. Chair, is the amount that was reduced or cut from the proposal. The total amount of which is 6,439,309 pesos. And this amount will be redirected to the support of COVID operation. And if you look into the attached supplemental budget, Mr. Chair, the new one, and comparing it to the original proposal, there is a difference of more or less 6 million, exactly 6,339,309 pesos. Now, and all of these were actually appropriated for support to COVID operation. Now, for the record, Mr. Chair, allow me to itemize the expenses that we will be incurring for this for the COVID-19 operation, Mr. Chair. Now,
Before going to that, is that the detailed amount, including the previous budget, the old budget?
yes,
You mean
Mr. Chair.
the amount, the 6 million plus the how much
Yes,
is the budget?
previous one.
Budget.
The original proposal,
The
Mr.
original
Chair,
proposal. I mean,
is the original proposal for COVID-19 operation is 17,840,261 pesos.
okay, and now
It will
the
become,
million is added into it.
yes, Mr. Chair, that will be around 25,179,570 pesos.
Now you're going to give us the items
Yes, Mr. Chair.
under the total amount of 25 million.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Okay. So, if you allow me, Mr. Chair, these are actually the detailed uh, expenses, no, for COVID operation under supplemental budget number 2. First, number 1, Mr. Chair, traveling expenses, 50,000 pesos. Uh, Office supplies expenses, 10,000 pesos. Then we have welfare goods, Mr. Chairman. These are actually food packages in the amount of 1 million pesos. Then we have drugs and medicine expenses, bar vaccines, the amount of 8 million pesos. Medicine expenses, this is actually intended for
Medicines. Sorry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I'm
Drugs and medicine.
sorry. I did not hear it. Medicines.
Drugs and medicine expenses. Yes, Mr. Chair. Drugs and medicine expenses slash vaccine, 8 million pesos.
Vaccine.
Yes, Mr. Chair, vaccines, 8 million pesos. Then we have also,
It was lump. That amount is, it's not specific. How much are we going to spend for vaccine? Whether 4 million, 5
no,
million.
8 million pesos for vaccine.
But included here is other drugs and medicines, or the 8 million is solely
No,
for
separate
vaccine?
item, Mr. Chair. Separate,
Okay, under
separate
drugs
amount.
and medicines. Okay.
Yes.
So 8 million vaccine.
So, yes, Mr. Chair, 8 million for vaccines. We have also appropriation for drugs and medicine expense. This will cover the different medicines and vitamins that is needed actually to be administered into the patients. No, previously the original proposal is 100,000 pesos. Now the committee and the rest of the members of this August body recommended it to make it 1.5 billion pesos. So there is an additional amount of 1,400,000 pesos. Then we have also appropriation for medical, dental, laboratory supplies. Now we have different items here that includes PPE, etc., sanitizers, etc., Mr. Chair. The original amount is 500,000 pesos. Now it will become 1,500,000 pesos. Then there is also a budget for fuel, oil, and lubricants. No, 200,000 pesos. Then we have also other supplies and materials. This will include the necessary items which will be given in our to our patients in the isolation facilities. Now that amount is 487,437 pesos. Then we have also budget for water expense, 50,000 pesos. We have also budget for electricity expense, 170,000 pesos. Telephone expense, mobile, 8,000 pesos. Internet subscription expense, 10,000 pesos. Then we have also the budget for other general services. Now this will be intended for the different medical personnel, no, that will man our isolation facilities. 15 of them will actually be covered until the end of the year, until December 31. But 15 of them also will have only an appropriation for 2 months. So all in all, there will be 30 personnel to be included in this item here. The total amount for other general services is 4,715,669 pesos. Then we have also a budget for repair and maintenance of transportation equipment, 50,000 or liabilities that we have incurred last year in the amount of 1,523,464 pesos. We have also budget for other MOE, isolation facility food, no? This is intended for the food, all those who will be isolated our facilities is spared.
How much is that? How much is that budget for the? How much is that budget for the food isolation?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Sorry for the interruption, Mr. Chair. If I may proceed, Mr. Chair, we
How
are
much?
already in the other MOE isolation.
The budget
Yes,
for the
Mr.
food
Chair.
in isolation. Food in isolation.
The budget for food in isolation, Mr. Chair, yes, 470,000 pesos. The original amount proposed is the total amount, Mr. Chair, is 4,470,000 pesos. The original proposal is 3 million. We added 1,470,000 pesos. So it becomes 4,470,000 pesos. And we also have budget for laundry service.
That budget is intended for the food of all persons
Food,
in
Mr.
our
Chair.
isolation
Food
facility.
for all our patients. Yes, Mr. Chair.
From breakfast,
The
lunch,
breakdown
to
of
dinner.
Yes, Mr. Chair. They have allocated 100 pesos for every meal.
For every meal, and that would span from now, this day up to December. The budgeting is
Well,
for good for how many days, how many months?
Now, that will only be when the budget will last, Mr. Chair. Because if you only compute 100 person times 300 pesos per day for 60 days only, that will be around 1.8 million pesos already. So you are already talking about more or less, Mr. Chair, 5 to 6 months only if you will be feeding 100 person per day. But if the patient will be less
This
than
amount is good for 6 months.
more or less, Mr. Chairman, it might depending on the number of patients that will be put in isolation centers, Mr. Chair. But more or less, it can cater up to 6 months.
Then after the food in isolation, what item?
Yes, we have also appropriation for laundry service, 100,000 pesos. We have also appropriation for burial assistance. Now, this is intended for in case of death, Mr. Chair. The city will assume the expenses for the burial of any deaths related to COVID, Mr. Chair.
How much is allocated per patient?
Initially, they in more than Mr. Chair, we have also budget for
We did not get it well because the signal is poor. Can you repeat that? The burial expense per patient?
Yes, Mr. Chair, come again.
I would like to know the burial expense per patient, the allocated budget per patient.
The executive in their proposal, Mr. Chair, proposed for 15,000 pesos per death
Now,
for burial, for every burial.
then,
However, yes, Mr. Chair.
yes.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
However,
However, the committee recommended that dapat wala na counterpart ang family. Kay sometimes it is actually more than 15,000. It sometimes reach 20,000 or more. So the committee recommended that the city should assume all those expenses for the burial, Mr. Chair.
shoulder all that would be around how much?
20 more or
50,000?
less 20,000 pesos, Mr. Chair.
20,000 pesos. Then next item.
Next item, Mr. Chair, is other MOE. This is actually intended for meetings and conferences of our personnel in the in relation to the COVID operation. Other MOE 50,000 pesos. Then we have also other MOE financial assistance, Mr. Chair, in the amount of 900,000 pesos. The explanation of this is we will provide 3,000 pesos financial aid to every patient positive for COVID-19, Mr. Chair. The 3,000 pesos will be given, yes, positive cases for COVID-19. This amount, 3,000 pesos, will be given to the family.
Automatic once you're positive.
Yes, Mr. Chair. That
Whether you are asymptomatic or not.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Those who will be isolated.
Let me be clarified on that. Hello? Hello?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So,
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
That's very interesting. The 3,000 pesos goes to all patients who would be positive in COVID, regardless of their symptoms or their level of medical condition.
Well, the intention really, Mr. Chair, it will really depend later on the members of this body to clarify further into that issue. But the intention really, when we discussed that yesterday, is it is intended for all those who will be found positive for COVID. Kung positive ka sa COVID and you will be put into isolation, the family will be left there actually, and no one will support the family in case the is being admitted or isolated is the breadwinner. Then the city will assist by providing 3,000 pesos assistance.
Yeah, because right now we have 171. If you give 3,000 each,
Kulang.
we around almost 450, 500,000
Already.
So that amount is, I don't know, is not enough, definitely.
Yes,
So,
Mr. Chair.
so at least
What the intention really here, Mr. Chair, is when we approve this budget, those who will be actually in the isolation center, no, ang current ng mga aral sa isolation center will be provided this assistance. Hindi na itong mga nakagawas. Hindi na itong mga nakagawas.
Okay. So those who are in isolation centers only can pay for that, okay? Tama ba?
Yes, Mr.
Isolation
Chair.
centers lang.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. The next item.
Next item, Mr. Chair, is for property, plant, and equipment. We intend to, they also propose to purchase a generator set, which will be provided in the new isolation center. In case it will be materialized in Marble 1 Elementary School, then we will be putting up, we will be providing it with a generator set. The proposed amount is 120,000 pesos. Then we also have budget here for the purchase of washing machine, 2 units, Mr. Chair, with dryer. The total amount is 100,000 pesos for 2 units.
That
Then
would be for the isolation center in Marble One.
Marble 1 Elementary School, Mr. Chair. Then lastly, we have here provision or fabrication of garbage bin, which will be put, which will also be provided in Marble 1 Elementary School Isolation Center, Mr. Chair. So
That's the last item.
yes, that's the last item, Mr. Chair. And that totals to 25,179,570 pesos.
I don't know if I failed to catch it. Do you have any budget for the isolation facility?
Yeah,
The rent
Mr. Chair.
expense for the facility?
Let's see.
Hotel, maybe hotel or
No,
dormitories?
Mr. Chair, we will not be renting actually we will not be renting a private inns, hotel or motel, Mr. Chair. But we will be using Marble 1 Elementary School as our main isolation facility.
Marble One.
So we have a budget of 500,000 pesos, but I'm looking at that that becomes now 487,000, Mr. Chair. Originally, parang 500,000 pesos ito. Naging 487, 437 pesos na. Ito na yung balancing figure kasi, Mr. Chair.
So you mean the Marble One facilities for free?
Yes,
Or
Mr.
less?
Chair. We will only be
Free
spending
of charge, I mean.
free of charge, and we will only be spending for the renovations and additional amenities or whatever facility that we could provide, Mr. Chair.
I did not find budget for, I've been talking with our barangay chairs and they really need it because right now, with the spike or the ongoing rise of numbers of cases, what happened right now because the Marble One facility is not yet ready, the barangays, the isolation now is in their houses, in their residences, and the barangay now are helping them from ferrying the patient to and fro. So there are needs by the barangay, and some of the patients now is or will be confined for the meantime in barangay isolation. So my question is there any support to the barangay for each barangay, 27 barangays, like fuel, like budget for the food, budget for probably the renovation of their facilities? Are there any budget that's intended for the barangay?
So far, Mr. Chair, since our discussion yesterday, we have not discussed any assistance to the barangay government with regards to COVID-19 operation. Only today, Honorable Prescott was able actually to discuss that off air, that several barangay, almost all barangay chairman is actually asking for support also. What I told you, because it's not part of the proposal of the executive, is they have to make their proposal and they have to itemize their proposal. Anyway, today is April 30. We can pass a supplemental budget, and by May 1, effective May, we can also consider providing for additional expenses for COVID-19. Kung kailangan, pero mas mainam, mas maayos kung makita talaga yung mga detalye ng proposal ng mga barangay chairman.
They're not asking that much as far as I can recall. What they're saying, what they need is fuel around 30 liters per week, each barangay. It's 20 liters for diesel and 10 liters for gasoline. and an expense about 20,000 or 30,000 per barangay per month as far as the support activities for our patients in the barangay. So I think that's good to hear that we can ask their proposal and we can include it come May 1. And that's very good to hear. And I'm sure Capitan Fresca will.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, yes, Honorable Labris.
yes, Mr. Chair, I think the best thing to do, Mr. Chair, is the barangay chairman, through the Association of Barangay Captains, Mr. Chair, will have to meet again and make a detailed proposal for the operation of barangay government also in relation to COVID-19. Then they will have to present it to the executive for proper funding. Kung kailangan, may pasan ng mas mabili, mas maaga, then by next week, by all means, we can pass another supplemental budget to finance that, Mr. Chair. I'm pretty sure that the city government can still find funds, no, for this purpose.
Okay, so Honorable Resga, can you assure us of your proposal? Because really it's a pressing matter as far as barangay chairs are concerned. Honorable Presga. For the sake of discussion, we would like to hear Honorable Presga because really they're crying for help. Honorable Presga. Honorable Presga.
Unmute mo na, Cons.
Honorable Jeanette, can you direct
Councilor
Honorable
Presga.
Presga to give a
Unmute,
comment on
Anay.
this?
Okay na.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, we would like to hear your side, being a representative of the barangay chair. We
Yes,
discussed
Mr.
that
Chair.
it's a pressing matter to them to have a budget, immediate budget, in fact, because right now they're the ones doing all the legwork in behalf of the city
Yes, right.
government. So,
Yes.
have you heard our discussion and what can you say about it?
Yes, Mr. Chair. As of this afternoon, 1 p.m., we conducted emergency meeting with the barangay captains and of course with their barangay nurse in relation to this pressing problem update concern of this COVID-19 pandemic since we already the cases is spiking, Mr. Chairman, of this COVID-19. So we heard the sentiment of our barangay captains because last year we
Can you assure us, this is a direct question to you, can you assure us that you will propose to the executive the soonest possible
yes.
time?
Yes, Mr. Chair, because this coming Thursday, we for the month of May, we will be having our regular session, Mr. Chairman, first
Thank
Thursday
you,
of the month. Yes, Mr. Chair,
Thank you for
and I'm
that.
sure that we will tackle that immediately, that concern, Mr. Chairman,
Thank you
so
for
that
that.
we can prepare also and in the barangay level, the preparation in case this COVID-19 will be sabihin natin mag-start, Mr. Chairman.
My question to Honorable Abris, may source of fund ba for May supplemental? May may
I
pondo
think,
ba?
Mr. Chair, yes, I think I'm positive, Mr. Chair, that we can still find funds para sa additional support for COVID response, Mr. Chair. Kung wala man din sa mga collection, then we can still realign funds. We can still realign existing appropriation to COVID operation. Kung importante na butangan natin pondo, Mr. Chair.
I think realign from this supplemental,
Existing appropriation, Mr. Chair.
the existing appropriation. So, but the thing is, the
Yes,
APC should really have a proposal to the executive.
Yes, that's the first thing that they should
That's
do.
the first thing, okay. And I'd like to ask also about I didn't hear about, I've consulted our medical practitioners. They noticed that our isolation facilities doesn't have basic equipments, medical equipment, the simple equipment like pulse oximeter, BP apparatus, blood pressure apparatus, thermometer, probably a weighing scale, and little things like that. Oxygen tank. Is it included in our new budget, in this COVID budget, in this supplemental budget?
Yes, Mr. Chair. That is why we have increased the budget for medical, dental, laboratory supplies, Mr. Chair. Because yesterday we discussed additional support, like for example, the provision for oxygen tank, Mr. Chair, that is important. No, and in the proposal of the City Health Office also, they have proposed the purchase of several apparatus, even BP apparatus, Mr. Chair. That's part of the proposal. That is included, Mr. Chair.
How about the extra personnel? We have noticed that our isolation centers doesn't have any nurse that's monitoring the situation or the medical status of our patients. In our budget, does it have a budget for medical personnel, additional medical personnel for our isolation budget in Marble One?
Yes, we have provided, Mr. Chair. In fact, we will be hiring additional 15 personnel. Out of the 15, 12 of which are nurses and medical personnel, Mr. Chair. Per rotation is there will be 5 personnel. 4 will be nurses or related courses, Mr. Chair. 1 is utility worker. And they will actually be rotating every week. Because after the duty for 1 week, the personnel will take off and will be quarantined for 14 days. Then the additional 5 will make its duty on the 2nd week until such time that the 3rd group will also be rotating after the 2nd group, Mr. Chair. So 15 new personnel.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. And about this vaccine, we're spending 8 million. But in fact, we're very much aware, even our LGU, that there is no available vaccine on hand right now. The procurement is difficult even in the national level. So what I'm thinking is we might be just parking our money. Parang natitingga lang dyan sa vaccine, and yet hindi talaga siya practical ngayon na lagyan ng budget dahil wala namang mabibiling vaccine sa totoo lang. And yung dumating from national for Koronadal, instead na thousands, yung bago ngayon, di 330 lang ata nga. No, kulang-kulang sa lahat-lahat. So if there is a shortage nationally, parang pwede bang i-defer natin yung 8 million na yan? And instead, we can allocate that for other matters na pressing, like the need for of the barangay chairs and other needs pa na kailangan punuan, like yung subsidy natin na financial. Kulang. Kasi yung 8 million na yan, hindi talaga magalang. Sa gitna ngayon na walang vaccine, and instead, how about if we're gonna spend that for antivirus na medicine like remdesivir na pwedeng immediate ang tulong kaagad sa surge na nangyayari ngayon?
Well, that was actually discussed in the committee, whether or not we will be putting the amount, a substantial amount for vaccine. And the committee also discussed the possibility baka nga hindi magamit. But the committee also were able to discuss that it is much better that we have a standby fund in case there will be available or there will be source of vaccines, then we could possibly immediately respond and book for our vaccines also, Mr. Chair. We are also considering the agreement between the LGUs in South Cotabato, where the province is also intending to proceed with a sharing arrangement, Mr. Chair. Now, if we don't have any amount intended for vaccine, then we will not be able to respond to whatever opportunities that we will be having in the future, Mr. Chair, in terms of acquiring vaccine. So after so much discussion on that issue, on that scenario, Mr. Chair, the committee decided that we will not touch the amount of 8 million for vaccine. After discussing the pros and cons on the issue, Mr. Chair.
In fact, if we're going to look at it, what is the priority right now is the immediate response. And was there any budget for remdesivir? It's antivirus medicine from Japan, remdesivir.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And,
yes, Mr. Chair. We also understand the difficulty of securing remdesivir because it's actually out. It's very difficult to get a supply for remdesivir, Mr. Chair. But nevertheless, because the City Health Office as well as the members of the council really wanted that an appropriation for the purchase of remdesivir will be provided, Mr. Chair. Now, that will be included in a total amount of 1.5 million, Mr. Chair, for drugs and medicine. Purchase of remdesivir is part of that, Mr. Chair.
Remdesivir, it costs around 6,000 per bottle. And every patient needs 6 bottles, so that's around 36,000 pesos. If we allocate 1.5 million, then that would be only good for around 41 patients. So that's why both the vaccines and the remdesivir are hard to find. But it comes to prioritization, I guess the prioritized meds would be between the two, would be definitely remdesivir because remdesivir is a direct medication by our patients have now. So kumbaga para silang budlay, pero kung mag-allocate naman lang ta, dito kita mag-allocate sa pareho lang ang sa budlay, dito lang ta sa makasurvive man sa aton, which is definitely can give dramatic effect if we have remdesivir. Muna, if we put the amount of vaccine 8 million, pwede nga 4 million lang siya siguro. Then the 4 million will go to additional budget for remdesivir that would total to 5.5 million. Yan ang nakikita kong adjustment. True, we will also have vaccine. But for now, because of the surge, pag dumating sila pareho, di talaga unahin yung para makagamot sa atin directly. Yun po ang nakikita ko lang dyan sa allocation natin. Kaysa yung malaki ang vaccine and yet no one would like to have it. So yun din ang maging pangyari. And the effect is questionable right now because there are reports that even vaccinated people really underwent into a severe case of COVID, which previously the vaccine are promising not to happen, and yet it's happening, meaning that vaccine effect now is quite questionable. So that's why if we are going to prioritize, I suggest that we are going to reallocate that. We have allocation for vaccine so that we have vaccine, but now we have to increase the budget for remdesivir to 5.5 million, so that I guess it could cover around around 120 people. That in the event of this surge would continue, at least makasabi tayo na we have a fighting chance to live. So yun po yung nakikita ko lang dyan sa ating budget if the body would maybe amenable to that suggestion. And further, the last question, how about dito sa budget na iban, not under COVID, pwede ba ano natin, magkaroon ng like yung proposal sa Vice Mayor's office about the computerization? I guess we are now nearing middle of the year and that procurement is hard. It's difficult with that computerization. Can we have it for 2020, 2022? Instead, that budget will be allocated for the needs of the office because right now the office is lacking of operational budget. Hindi ba yun?
Mr. Chair, we have already, yes, Mr. Chair, we have already adjusted the budget under the office of the City Vice Mayor's office.
So you mean that computerization deferred for the meantime?
Yes, Mr. Chair, for next year,
okay.
the website development.
Okay. I just want to make sure of that because our office can barely survive.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's my questioning, and I hope you will reconsider the budgeting on remdesivir and vaccines, just for in order of prioritization. No, it's just it doesn't mean that we don't have vaccines anymore. It's just that, or the
yes, Mr. Chair.
priority would be remdesivir. Then come the budget for come the second supplemental budget, then we can add for vaccine. What is important now is we can assure that in the event we have remdesivir around, we can easily purchase that for our people who are really sick of COVID.
Yes, duly noted, Mr. Chair. Anyway, we are still in the committee report, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I have a pending motion for the adoption of the report first.
The report. Okay, so at least okay, so we go back. There is a pending motion and it's seconded. Any objection? There having none, the committee report is hereby adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I therefore move, Mr. Chair, that the supplemental budget number 2 will be calendared for second reading in today's session under unassigned business.
Second.
Any objection? Having none, the committee report is now calendared for second reading under unassigned business.
Under second reading, unassigned business, item 1.1, an ordinance authorizing general fund and special act for 2021, supplemental budget number 2, which appropriates the amount of 105,403,000 centavos for personal services.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay,
Yes,
Mr.
Mr.
Chair.
Chair, please.
Thank you. On unanimous sponsorship, Mr. Chair, by all the members of the Sanggunian, I move for the approval of supplemental budget number 2, calendar year 2021, in the amount of 105 million pesos and 403,702 pesos and 35 centavos. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Honorable Picoy.
just a manifestation, Mr. Chair. I would like to manifest with regards to the, not just for the record, Mr. Chair, not that I'm against this is the ICT equipment, 1 unit server accessories. When we asked for this, specs for this, Mr. Chair, we were not given the specs for this. So next time, Mr. Chair, during some meeting namin, we asked for this. This is amounting to 2.611. So next time, Mr. Chair, siguro to give us the specs for this ahead of time so that may maka-learn, maka-study kami. Kaya I'm not a technical person. So medyo mabudlay para sa akon to understand this, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, just proceed.
yes, thank you for the manifestation from the Honorable Pingboy. That is well noted and well considered, Mr. Chair. The specs was only what we were able only to get the specs only this morning. We could have more time to do that. But rest assured, Mr. Chair, whenever there will be requests for specifics of every item, this representation would make sure that we will be able to get it as early as possible so that we could look into it. Duly noted, Mr. Chair, and well considered.
How about the view that the prioritization of our medicines would be better if we have remdesivir? Can we amend the report in a way or change the body the body can decide on it? Because I see the prioritization here really we are in the middle of the battle of COVID and the vaccine really is nowhere to be found. So do we have a liberty to somewhat accommodate that request that
Mr. Chair,
will prioritize more severe than Pingoy?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Honorable Pingoy.
anyway, we already allocated the substantial amount for the drugs and medicines, which that includes the remdesivir. Just to inform everyone, to purchase the remdesivir, the FDA needs the approval from the FDA. There is aton tanan, we don't have remdesivir. Pending tanan ang request namon. In fact, I can only say sa tanan nga private hospitals, mag-agi tanan sa FDA. So pending tanan ang aton remdesivir, pending sa ila approval. So it's hard for us to purchase remdesivir nowadays. So ginahulat lamon ang approval every day. I'm talking about the remdesivir ordered by the DAPMC, kaya wala na gid. Even the General Santos City doctors, they don't have remdesivir already. So ang ilang request is pending sa Manila. So kung siguro with regards to vaccine, kanina it was already explained by the chairman sa Committee on Finance, na standby ang aton 8 million for the vaccine for para anytime may pondo kita. With regards to sa remdesivir, yeah, I know it's priority, pero siguro medyo sa ina naton sa aton drugs and medicine na pondo. Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized?
Yeah, Honorable Hurtado.
I guess, Mr. Chair, the amount provided may not be enough as of this moment. But considering the earlier pronouncement of the Honorable Presga that the barangay captains will be meeting to send their proposal, and the Honorable Abris also mentioned that we can realign funds, then there is no problem, Mr. Chairman, because this Sanggunian really felt the need to act positively on the request, especially so about COVID. So the moment that the Liga ng mga barangay will make their recommendation and it will be studied by the committee, Mr. Chair, there is no reason that we cannot act on it. But as of the moment, Mr. Chair, that this is the output of everyone, the committee and the rest of who attended. But nevertheless, Mr. Chair, I also agree with your pronouncement. So siguro next in line siya right after, pwede kita liwat maka-request for second supplemental. A third na siguro or supplemental. And we will act on it right away, Mr. Chair.
It's for our people.
Yes.
I'm just my heart goes for that direction because no matter how difficult remdesivir acquire remdesivir, still is the same thing. Vaccine is hard to acquire also. So having both difficulties, it's better to to prepare more for remdesivir than the vaccine, which in fact no one would really have it. There was a call for senior citizens and only 20 came. And that's how bad it is because it's by choice. But remdesivir having a COVID, to be found COVID and with symptoms, definitely you don't have to think about it. You need remdesivir right away. So in order prioritization, I think it was not just deliberated well in the committee. The importance of remdesivir compared to vaccine at this time when there is really a surge, actual, clear, present surge that's threatening our even each and everyone's lives. Yes, we know that hospitals are asking for it, everyone are asking for it, but it's the same thing. Vaccine, everyone is asking for it. No one is giving us. So just to put the proper perspective, it's the issue of prioritization more than the availability. So I hope we have to really put that in mind come next budgeting because really our cases are spiking, people are dying, even a personal from the city hall died because of it and we don't know. Lo and behold, baka sana naman hindi naman sa yung siya sa mga hindi nabigyan ng remdesivir. So doon yun po ang ating ano. In fact, it's not that we don't have, naubos lang. The previous days we do still have. So it's not really that we cannot acquire. Nagkakaubusan lang din talaga. Pero we do have early on. It's just naubos lang. So that's why to the point is prioritization. So I think the body is assuring us that i-prioritize ito. So I'm sure that si Barangay Captain Honorable Press guys looking into this. So I hope huwag kalimutan itong remdesivir next time around more than the vaccine because it's really a badly needed medicine. Okay? Sige. So to proceed, we have a motion. Yes, Honorable Aguirre.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
This is just a suggestion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I have the floor.
Okay, yes, proceed, Honorable Aguirre.
To the ABC President, may I suggest na kung pwede, this Monday, may meeting ka agad. Why wait for Thursday? Kasi marami na ngayon nag-spike, nag-surge ngayon ang virus o let's say the pandemic. Hindi kailangan sana baka Monday, pwede ang mga barangay captain pag-usapan, siguro nagka-problema na yan ngayon eh. Why wait for Thursday? That is just a suggestion.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, Honorable Hinay. Honorable Presga, Honorable Presga.
Yes, as per recommended of the Honorable Aguirre, I will call an emergency session this coming Monday, Mr. Chair. So that we will fast track the priority of our 27 barangay in terms of COVID-19 pandemic, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for to hear that. Okay. Okay, any other? Honorable Labris?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Rest assured, Mr. Chair, the comments that you manifested earlier will be duly considered in the next action of the committee. Anyway, the 8 million pesos will still be there. Di pa man magalaw yan. Ang pondo natin for purchase of drugs and medicine like remdesivir, I think it can still last for several weeks or months. Kung kailangan talaga, Mr. Chair, we can resort to the option that you have suggested. But we have to also consult it because it's up to them to propose to this, and all those comments will be considered seriously by the committee. In that case, Mr. Chair, I reiterate my motion for the approval of supplemental budget number 2 CY 2021 on unanimous sponsorship.
Any second to the motion?
Second. Second.
Move and seconded. Any objection? Having none, the motion is hereby approved. Approval of our supplemental budget for 2021. Second supplemental budget for 2021. So approved.
Chair, second and finally. So there being no other matters, Mr. Chair, I move for the adjournment of this special session.
Second.
Any objection? Having none, our special session this April 30 is hereby adjourned. Salamat.
Another question, Mr. Chair. Another question, Mr. Chair. Next session on Tuesday, ano ang modes ng session natin? Face-to-face, online?